Hi, this is Joanne from the Ferdinand branch. I sure miss seeing everybody. Hope you're doing well and doing the best you can with all that's going on in the world today. So, I wanted to share a little craft project, and basically, based on an old tradition with May Day. The tradition, as I understand it, was that people would make little baskets and take their fresh flowers that were blooming in the spring and put them in the basket and hang them on people's doorknobs and walk away so that when people open the door, they had their little flowers. So this would make a darling little Mother's Day gift or just a little gift for anybody at any point in time to cheer them up. Basically, all you need is paper, some kind of string, um, either chenille sticks, pipe cleaners, or bread twists. If you have silk flowers, that's fine. I'm going to make three different types. The first one may be perhaps for younger people, but older people could make it as well, but it might be a little simpler for younger folks. And then get a little fancier as we go. So I'm going to move the camera here a little bit so you can see what I'm doing maybe a little bit better. So the first one, we're just going to take a piece of construction paper. It can be any color. If you have construction paper, that'd be fine. And basically what we want to do is make it into a square. So a simple way to do that is to take it and fold it like this. Now don't crease it, but just fold it like this. And then you'll see that you have a straight line. You can then take a ruler, lay it down, take a ruler and draw that line, or you can just eyeball it because it's not like origami. So you would just cut this so that you have your square. So we'll cut that. And then basically what we're going to do is make it into a cone. So some people like to stick a pencil down here when they roll it, or you can just do your best. And you just start in a corner and you just roll it. I'm going to put this a little further down. You just roll it here in a corner and just kind of make that as small as you can and keep rolling. And then you've got a little cone. Okay. So you can see you have a little cone there. All right. You can mess with it to make it as the corner as little as you'd like. Okay. And then I just took a piece of tape, just Scotch tape, any type of tape you have. Now, if you want to use double stick tape or you want to use glue, if you have Elmer's glue or tacky glue or something like that, you can always do that. You might want to take a clothespin then and put it till it dries. So I'm just going to use tape because then it holds right away. Okay. So then you have your little cone, and that's basically what would hang on the door with the flowers in it. Now I'm going to make this one a little fancier. So if you have any type of ribbon, I happen to have some gift wrap ribbon. You can use any colors you want, one color, multiple colors. And I don't know, I would make it two or 3 feet long. Just give it a cut. I'm going to use 3 colors. And it doesn't have to be perfect. This I just happen to have in the gift wrapping stuff. All right, so I've got that. I'm going to tie it together. Just make a little knot. And depending how big your hole is at the bottom of your cone, you might not want to make the knot. You might want to just take a little piece of tape and put the little tape on there. That's totally up to you. And then you want to put it in the hole at the bottom, and you just want to slide it up the best you can. Now, if you'd want to tape this even right here or tape it before you even start, that would be fine. In fact, I think I'll go ahead and do that. I'm just going to put it up through that little hole. In fact, I'm going to make my knot a little bit bigger. Stick it in that hole. And you could also staple this. That would work fine as well. But then I'm just going to put a little piece of tape down here to hold that in. And basically all that's doing is making it a little fancy, okay, so that you have these little ribbons hanging out the bottom. See, there's your cone and you have the little ribbons. And then I'm going to take my hole punch and I'm just going to make a punch at the top. Now, I will tell you, when I used the construction paper earlier, when I put the ribbon in, it tended to tear that little hole. So if you have these hole reinforcements that you might use with the 3-ring binder, if you happen to have one of those, you could put it on there. Or again, you could put a little piece of tape on there, and then when you, on both sides, even when you put the hole punch, you'd have a little reinforcement. And again, I'm just going to take those same colors of ribbon, cut a couple of little pieces here. These don't have to be quite as long as the original ones, but maybe about 2 feet or so. If you make them a little longer, that's fine. Holy cow, I'm having a hard time here. Here we go. There we go. Couple of feet. Couple of feet of this one. I think I'm just going to use 2 colors on this one. I'm going to hold them together and then grab them in the middle. Okay. Grab them in the middle so you have like little loops. And then I'm going to stick them through that hole. Stick those loops through that hole, both of them. And then you have that, when they come out like that, you have the 2 little loops, and then you just pull the string up this way and then pull. And this is where you have to be kind of gentle, because this is where I tore it earlier. When I pulled, if you pull too tight, you can tear that, okay? And then I'm just going to tie them in a knot, like you would your shoe when you start up here at the top, and just leave enough space so that it's long enough to hang on a doorknob. I'm going to hang mine on the end of the curtain rods in my house, but if you're giving it to somebody, you might want to make it a little longer. You could hang it on the end of a chair or anything. So then you have your little loop. Now, if you want to, you can even take another color or the same or whatever and just make a bow. So I can make a little bow here at the top of this and put it underneath the knot so it doesn't slip off. So where you made your knot for your hanger, I'll show you here. So I just, like I'm tying my shoe again, just literally making a bow. But where you had that knot, you'd want to make this bow beneath that, otherwise it'll slide off like that. You'd want to make it. So I'm just going to tie a little bow there, sweet little bow. All right, now if you want to, if you'd like to curl the bottom, if you don't want these long tails, I'm sure many of you know how to do this. I don't know who's crafters and who's not, but you carefully just open up your scissors, you grab your ribbon and you hold it on there with your thumb and you just pull. And then that'll make it curly if you'd like to do that. You just pull, open up your scissors and pull. Now I happen to have a little Easter grass left over from the holiday. I know this stuff tends to make a mess, but it's kind of fun as filler. So I happen to have a little Easter grass, so I'm going to go ahead and put that in there as filler. Okay, so there's my cone, my basket. My May Day basket is ready to go. So then I'm going to make some homemade flowers. And the first one was actually inspired by my niece. Years ago, she gave me a little basket of flowers where she had these in. And basically, that's just a tissue paper flower. Okay, so I happen to have this tissue paper. One piece is white, and I had a couple of polka dotted green. Doesn't matter if you have leftover from the holidays or anything, that's fine. You can see there may be 2 inches by 3 inches, or by 6 inches, 6 by 3. You can see they're not straight or anything else. So just whatever leftover you have. And you just kind of bend them in half and pinch. Just pinch them until you think it kind of looks like a flower, okay? And then you take your chenille stick or your pipe cleaner and you put it on the edge, okay? And then you just want to tightly wrap it a couple of times. And take the other edge over. And then, ta-da, you have a flower. Okay, so that's one type of flower you could use to put in your May Day basket. Another one, I simply had these little tart, like little, they're not cupcake holders, they're for little tarts. I happen to have like the cheesecake tarts. And if you don't have a chenille stick, I thought maybe you would have these little bread twists, either from, if you happen to have them in a gift package, those little plastic gift packages, or maybe with your garbage bags. And I just literally took the tart holder, punched this through, literally just goes right through, bend it over for the little stamen at the top, and ta-da, you have a flower. Okay, and again, you can decorate that up all you wanted to. I just simply made it like this. Okay, so there's that flower. Another way is to take a piece of paper. I happen to have construction paper. So I just took my glue bottle to make a pattern, literally just sat it down, marked it this way, then marked it this way, cut it out, and then you have a little flower. Now you can freehand this, you can add more petals, you can do whatever you want. This was just a simple way to get the back. And then I literally took a cupcake holder and I squished it. So you can just squish it again. And then I just bent it on the bottom so I had a little flat piece so I could put glue on it. Okay, little glue. So again, I just took a chenille stick, a pipe cleaner. If you use pencil when you cut out your thing, you can erase your pencil marks if you want. But I just, I used marker on that one that I showed you just so that you could see it, but I would suggest using pencil. Again, you just poke it through, bend it over, and then flatten that on the construction paper, if you can see that. So then I just literally put the glue on there, and squished my flower down. Now I had to let this set a little bit. In fact, I think I held it for a little bit, few seconds, because I just used Elmer's glue, school glue. But if you use a tacky glue, it'll hold right away. Okay, and then again, you could use different colors, whatever you want to, but then you come up with a little flower. So there was another one. Now another thing that you can do is make flowers out of egg cartons. So I just happen to have a green one in the refrigerator. So you just take this and you literally just cut. Now, if you're good with a knife, you could use that too. I just was afraid I'd cut myself. So you just literally cut it, and then you can cut down the middle here. Just take your time and just cut. And then you have this much, okay? And then I cut that in half, and there's your little flower. So what I did then is I just made little triangles. Just literally cut little triangles out of it. And then when you're done, the thing looks like this. So it looks like a little tulip. Again, just took a chenille stick, cut them in half. You can leave these as long as you'd like, depending on your basket or your container. Again, just punch it through and bend it at the top. Just bend the top back a little bit so it doesn't fall out. Pull it down and you have a flower. So then you just take it, you stick all your flowers in your basket, and I'll show you one that I have done. And I have hanging here on my curtain. So there's your little basket. You could simply hang it on somebody's door. I made a little sign for this one that says Happy May Day. So I just took a little piece of paper. I used my fancy scissors. You don't have to cut it around. And then I happen to have a shish kebab stick in the kitchen. So I just used that. I broke it to make it a little shorter. This one has a pointy end. So if you're doing this with kids and you want to leave the full end, obviously you'd want to cut that off. Okay. And if you have stickers, I happen to have some butterfly stickers here. You could obviously decorate this with butterfly stickers. You could obviously just write Happy May Day on here. You could put stickers around there. Any, to your heart's delight, whatever creation you would like. But there would be your little one version of your May Day basket. Okay. So the next one, I use just regular colored paper. Okay, and you could use a sheet of white paper, just printer paper would be fine. Same thing. You want to make it square. So again, you could put it on a paper cutter or you could actually measure it. I just simply use the trick of folding it like this and going like that. And then you have a square piece of paper. Okay, so here that is. And again, you just want to roll it starting in the corner until you have your little cone. Again, you can mess with it a little bit, however you like it. And like I said, some people put a little pencil in here when they roll it to get it a little tighter so they have a really pointy corner. So you got that. Again, I just took a piece of tape. You could glue it, double stick tape, whatever you're comfortable with, whatever's easiest for you. Now, in this case, there you go. I just punched it at the top. And instead of the fancy ribbon, I just took a piece of yarn. So literally just a piece of yarn that I had. So again, I don't know, 3 feet long. Now, usually when I use yarn like this, I'll tie the ends because they tend to fray if you don't. So I just literally make a little knot in the ends. Now I had this twine as well. So you could use twine, whatever you happen to have. Again, you want to fold it in half, stick that little loop through the hole, pull it up, pull these sides through, and then tie your little ribbon at the top. And you have your hanger. Again, leave a little space to cover the door. Now, if you'd want to, you wouldn't just have to do one hanger. Okay, you could do, or one hole, you could do two. You could do one on this side and one on this side and make it more like a basket. That would work perfectly fine too, whatever you'd like. Okay, now in this one, I happen to have some silk flowers. So I just grabbed them. Now, many times with silk flowers like this, you can just cut, you can take your little tool. I raided my husband's toolbox, but you literally just take your little tool and you can cut them to the length you want to. Or many times, if you just have them, you can just take them and go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth a couple of times, different ways. And eventually, sometimes I even wiggle it around and it'll pop right out. So then you have your single flower. So you can just take those, pop them in. And again, there's another version of the same thing, only using yarn. So here's one I made earlier, same concept with flowers I had hanging here, same color as my kitchen. So I've just hung in here on the end of my curtain rod. So there you go. Now the last version, if you happen to have scrapbook paper or any kind of fancy paper. So here's a piece of scrapbook paper. Again, make it a square. This one was easy since it was plaid. I could do that. Now I took my fancy scissors with the scalloped edge. You can use any kind of fancy scissors if you'd like. And I went ahead and did the fancy cuts on two sides. I don't know, it's kind of hard to see, but on two of the sides, I cut along with the fancy edge scissors. So it gave it that little scalloped edge. But again, you could use any kind, and you don't have to do this. This is just another version. And then when you start rolling your basket or your cone, you want to use the two sides that aren't cut with the scissors. You want to use your plain edge. So then you come around, and it just, you can see, it just gives the basket or the cone a little bit of a fancier edge, okay? And then I took my hole punch and just punched all around here about every inch or so. And I used organza ribbon or organdy ribbon. It's just a little fancier. Again, I happen to have it. Again, if you have a little bit fancier ribbon, you could do that. And I strung it in and out. Let's see if you can see that. It's kind of hard. But basically, I just took the ribbon and I strung it in and out. I just weaved it in and out. And then when you got to the top, you just had this little bit of a fancier ribbon. Now, I could have tied it on the front. If I didn't wanted the ribbon on the front, I could have started back and tied the ribbon on the front and used another piece to make the hanger. Or again, I could have made the hangers on the side. But you can see that's just a little fancier than the others. And again, I happen to have a flower here at home that I stuck in there. And then I thought it'd be fun to stick some seeds in there. So I just had a package of sunflower seeds I haven't planted yet, and I stuck those in there. So that makes just a little fancier to hold. Okay. So I think that should take care of it. Again, basically what you need for this is a piece of paper, string, tape, scissors, and you can make the little May Day baskets. So if you want to learn more about May Day, I would highly encourage you to go to our Pinterest page. It's pinterest.com/Ferdinand Branch. We have a bunch of boards, but one of the boards is actually called May Day baskets. And I've put different suggestions on them. Some used tin cans, the empty tin cans from your food. Some used little paper bags. They made them. And it talks about more of the history of May Day as well. And again, I think that would be fun to use for Mother's Day or just any little, for your coworkers or whatever, to just hang on the knobs of their desk or whatever. I just think it would be fun. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and I'll be happy to try to answer them. And we sure appreciate your watching us here today, and hope to see you soon. Thank you. Take care.